Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in because we are tackling a topic that literally transforms the landscape right outside your front door. We're looking directly at the science and really the core strategy behind why fall is, without a doubt, the single most critical season for tall fescue lawns. If you live in the Charlotte area and you want a thick, resilient lawn next spring, this is the most important explainer you're going to watch all year. Okay, let's dive into this. You spent the entire spring admiring a gorgeous, lush yard, right? And then July and August hit, suddenly you look out the window and you're staring at brown patches, thinning grass, and these baked dry spots. It is incredibly frustrating, especially when you feel like you did everything right with your watering and your mowing schedule. Well, surprisingly, you probably did do everything right, but biology simply took over. Section 1. The brutal summer fescue struggle. Why summer destroys your lawn. Look, if your lawn looks completely beaten up right now after those grueling summer months, I really need you to know that it is not your fault. To understand the problem, we just have to look at the grass itself. Tall fescue is fundamentally a cool season grass. That means its biological happy place is in cooler temperatures. When you plant it down in North Carolina, it's forced to fight a naturally losing battle against that intense summer heat. It is simply not genetically designed to thrive in those scorching day-after-day conditions. Over the last few months, your lawn was absolutely hammered by what we like to call the villains of summer. Think about it. It suffered through extended periods of extreme heat and incredibly high humidity. It was drowned by heavy, flooding rains that were immediately followed by these brutal, drought-like dry spells. It fought off increased lawn fungus pressure, and on top of all that, the whole shebang was suffocating in Charlotte's famously heavy, compacted clay soils. Now, here is a really critical insight from our source material. Even if you glance out your window and your grass still looks, relatively green from a distance, dangerous, invisible damage has almost certainly occurred below the surface. The soil is deeply compacted. The root system has been severely weakened by heat stress and foot traffic, and those slightly thin areas, they're basically just rolling out the red carpet, completely ready to invite a massive weed invasion the second they get a chance. Which brings us to Section 2, Core Aeration Explained, the biological reset. This isn't just some optional cosmetic lawn service. It is an absolute urgent biological necessity to rescue your soil. So what exactly is it? Core aeration is the physical process of removing thousands of small plugs of soil from all throughout your entire lawn. And yeah, I know, it makes your yard look like a flock of geese just visited for a few weeks. But for the heavy compacted clay soil we have in Charlotte, this mechanical process is literally the ultimate cure.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this physical action translates into immediate biological benefits. By pulling out those little plugs, for the first time in months, oxygen can physically reach deep into the root system. When it rains or when you put down fertilizer, those nutrients actually penetrate deep into the ground instead of just running off the hard, baked surface. Ultimately, your grass roots are free to grow thicker and significantly stronger in that naturally loosened clay. Moving on to Section 3, the power of overseeding, filling the soil with life. You see, aeration is really only half the battle. To capitalize on that beautifully loosened soil, we introduce a perfect symbiotic relationship. And this brilliantly illustrates that exact relationship. Aeration prepares and opens up the soil, and overseeding immediately fills that newly prepared space with new life. By spreading premium tall fescue seed right after you aerate, the seed drops straight into those open holes. That direct seed-to-soil contact is the absolute secret to dramatically improving your germination rates. When you successfully pair these two steps together, the long-term benefits are just staggering. You're going to see significantly thicker turf and a much richer green color. You'll build better drought tolerance and improve disease resistance for next summer. But honestly, perhaps most importantly, fewer weeds. A thick, robust lawn naturally chokes out invading weeds because there is simply no space or sunlight left for them to establish themselves.
Section 4, timing is everything. The closing window.
All of this sounds great, right? But this isn't something you can just get around to whenever you have a free weekend. There is a strict closing chronological window for lawn restoration. Summer was all about severe heat stress, but late August through September, that is your optimal golden window for seeding. So the crucial point is that during this time, the soil is still warm from the summer, but the air temperatures are finally cooling down, creating the perfect scientific Goldilocks conditions for seed germination. If you push this off into October or November, the soil cooling is going to completely shut this process down. Hit the window right, though, and next spring yields full recovery results. I want to really emphasize this because it's a super common myth. The biggest mistake homeowners make is waiting until October or November to even think about overseeding. Actually, by the time the leaves are falling, dropping soil temperatures will absolutely ruin your germination rates. Not to mention, professional appointment schedules will be completely full by then.
In fact, according to the source material provided by Lawn Pride of North Charlotte, professionals strongly stress the importance of combining this early scheduling with high-quality materials. They note that using professional-grade equipment and premium, high-quality seed during this exact late August to September window is what physically guarantees your lawn gets the best possible start for the growing season ahead.
Section 5. The cost of doing nothing. What happens if you skip it? So you might be asking yourself, what if I just skip it this year? I mean, what's the real cost of doing nothing? Well, the cause and effect of inaction is severe. Without fall aeration and overseeding, your lawn is just going to continue to thin out year after year. That direct neglect leads to more weeds taking over, expanding bare spots, and increased soil erosion. Your grass will have terrible drought tolerance and face much higher disease pressure next summer. Ultimately, skipping this vital step just leads to incredibly expensive lawn repairs down the road. Which brings us to this absolutely essential core takeaway. We often think we can just dump a bunch of chemicals on a problem to fix it, right? But healthy lawns aren't created by fertilizer alone. They start with healthy soil and strong, deep root systems. Real lawn health, the kind that can actually survive a Charlotte summer, has to start below the surface.
Our source text sums this entire concept up brilliantly with this powerful quote. Healthy lawns don't happen by chance. They happen by choice. You have to make the active choice to reset your lawn before winter so it can come back stronger than ever next spring. And you have to make that choice before those late summer schedules totally fill up.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Will you let your lawn slowly thin out year over year, or is it finally time to give your soil the biological reset it is begging for? The window is open right now, but it's closing fast. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Look down at the dirt next time you walk outside. The choice is yours. Here's to a greener, healthier lawn next spring.